All right, guys, we got to talk about this because Stephen Miller is on some thin ice, y'all. On some thin ice. Now, I always felt like, I don't even know how this motherfucker climbed the ladder of success to where he was. He's basically Trump's right-hand man. And, I mean, honestly, I really think it's just being a relentless kiss ass. So he loves Trump. He kisses Trump's ass, tells him what he wants to hear. And then I think he's the actual, like, dot the I's and cross the T's guy. He's the guy who will do all the grunt work that Trump wants done. So he really earned his spot next to Trump in the sense that Trump trusts him to, like, actually go do the work, right? But here's the problem. Stephen Miller got out over his skis. He's basically running the White House. All the shit Trump doesn't want to deal with, he's running it. And problem is, he is a truly ideological and dedicated fascist. Like, truly. To the point where he's willing to wage war on reality, and he's willing to do things that might have a fucking, like, single-digit approval rating. And that has now backfired. And now you have people from within the regime all pointing fingers at each other and looking at Miller and going, what the fuck was that? You fucked me. Okay, look at this. Scoop, blame game erupts over Trump's team's false claim Alex Preddy sought a massacre. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is under fire for issuing misleading and incendiary information that claimed immigration agents killed an armed Minnesota protester Saturday because he wanted to, quote, massacre them. That language has now become a source of controversy in the Trump administration. White House officials are now blaming Customs and Border Patrol for furnishing inaccurate information, while others are targeting Stephen Miller, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff and top Trump advisor, 6 sources with knowledge of the situation told Axios. Now, my guess is, as we continue here, it's Stephen Miller who's blaming Border Patrol because he's got nobody else to blame because he came up with the language. That's my guess. This episode illustrates the confusion that gripped the administration after the Saturday shooting death of Minnesota protester Alex Preddy, and it shows the influence of Miller, Trump's close and longest-serving political advisor, whose dominion in the White House far exceeds his title. Miller's power extends to de facto oversight of Noem, though she's a cabinet secretary who technically outranks him. Everything I've done at the direction of the president and Stephen, Noem told a person who relayed her remarks to Axios. So that's crazy. So now they're already hitting us with the, I was just following orders. Everybody knew it was eventually going to end with that same line because that's the defense that the Nazis used at Nuremberg. I was just following orders. Hey, I didn't want to do it. I didn't even like it. I was just following orders, and that's my job. I got to follow the orders. So she's saying, yeah, I called the guy a domestic terrorist. Yeah, I said he wanted to do a massacre, but I was just saying what they told me to say, homie. I didn't even know anything about it. Immediately after Preddy was fatally shot in Minneapolis about 10:05 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday, administration officials in Washington knew they had a potential disaster on their hands, but had little information. Oh, please. No, they were doing damage control. Let's be serious. The officers directly involved in the shooting all shut up and got lawyers quick, so there wasn't a lot of information, one source briefed on the statement said. The CBP officers on the ground furnished a report that White House officials told Axios left officials with the belief that Preddy had brandished a gun. Miller heard gun and knew what the narrative would be. Preddy came to massacre cops, a source briefed on the process of assembling the press statement said. Any early comments made were based on information sent to the White House through CBP, Miller told Axios in response. So I was exactly right. It's Miller who's blaming Customs and Border Protection because he came up with it. DHS posted the statement at 12:31 p.m. on X. White House officials had signed off on the statement, but others had not, leaving them frustrated. Quote, others within the White House attempted to clean up the DHS statement prior to it being sent, but it had already been disseminated, said another source familiar with the episode. The president was kept apprised of the statement by Miller and Noem's top advisor, Corey Lewandowski, one of Trump's former campaign managers in 2016, according to 2 sources. Miller then posted on X that Preddy was an assassin, which a source said was also based on a preliminary report from Customs and Border Protection. Nah, bro, you're coming up with the language. Spare me. You're coming up with the fucking language. He's such a weasel. Now that he's caught, I didn't even do it. No, actually, it was them, Papa. Vice President Vance then posted it on his page. Yeah, see, they all fucking, Miller led the way. They all got on board because they're all fucking drones. They're all lemmings. It's whatever Daddy says. But Daddy is playing golf. Daddy is remodeling a bathroom, okay? Like, so what do? I don't know. Let fucking Stephen Miller take the wheel because he seems to do it all the time anyway. Noem subsequently used the language at a news conference, as did the Border Patrol commander then overseeing operations in the Twin Cities, Greg Bovino. Noem also inaccurately suggested Preddy was brandishing his weapon when videos showed he never reached for his weapon and had been disarmed before he was shot. As more video from bystanders and observers contradicted the official narrative over the weekend, Trump became agitated with what he saw on TV and social media and decided to make changes in the Minnesota operation. It's always the TV stuff, isn't it? It is always the TV shit for Trump. He truly is like the boomer Fox News grandpa who's like, I don't like the show of this. I don't like the theater. I don't like the optics, and we need to address this. You have fucking Miller goose-stepping in the corner and Zig Heiling, and you have Trump going, this doesn't look good on TV. We have to do something about this. On Monday, he dispatched border czar Tom Homan, a critic of the heavy-handed law enforcement efforts. He's not a fucking critic of the heavy-handed. Where are you getting this? Oh, my God. Hamhead is one of these people. He is one of the fucking psychopaths. What? Oh, my God. Like I said, 100% Hitler versus 99% Hitler. That's Bavino versus Hamhead. Miller said Minnesota operation didn't follow the guidelines established by the White House in the aftermath of the January 7th shooting of another Minneapolis demonstrator, Renee Good. Oh, so now Miller's going, you didn't follow the guidelines. Gosh golly. Specifically, Miller said the squads of CBP agents were supposed to be divided between officers engaged in the arrest of specifically targeted criminal aliens and other officers in charge of crowd control to keep agitators from interfering. We are examining why CBP was not following that protocol. Don't fucking talk to me about protocol when these motherfuckers murdered somebody and fled the scene again, and they also murdered somebody, and then another medical professional tried to help, and they said, you're not allowed to. They violated every protocol every step of the way. Even them being there is violating protocol. They're violating the Constitution by being there. And now the protocol. Now you say the fucking protocol? Oh my God. Noam on Monday night had a 2-hour meeting in the White House with Trump to discuss the matter, the New York Times first reported. Quote, she's a loyal person and she wanted her voice heard, one source said. She made sure to convey her loyalty. Miller wasn't in the meeting, neither was Homan, with whom Noam has feuded. Oh, these people all fucking hate each other. Let's go. Injected in my veins. Homan was en route to Minnesota by then. Noam has complained to others that she feels she's being hung out to dry over the episode and has made sure to emphasize she took direction from Miller and the president, a source told Axios. Bro, I'll tell you exactly what happened here in a second. Trump's move was a rare break from Miller, who remains one of the president's closest advisors, sources said. Stephen Miller is one of President Trump's most trusted and longest-serving aides. The president loves Stephen, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt told Axios. Trump and Leavitt also repeatedly praised Noam, despite rumors to the contrary. Noam's job is safe. White House officials say she's doing the job the president wants her to do. One official said, there's no daylight there. Okay, here's what happened. And I know for sure this is what happened. Stephen Miller, as per usual, used the Trump playbook, and it's also the Miller playbook. Darvo. Flip it, go on the offense. Flip it, go on the offense. The victim is the oppressor is the victim. Smear the guy who was killed. Never admit fault in any way, shape, or form, ever. So, yeah, call him a domestic terrorist, say he's a wannabe assassin, say he was coming to murder cops. Who cares? Now, they're right-wing postmodernists. Narrative matters more than truth. We'll create our own truth by driving home the narrative. The problem is, this is one of those instances where Trump didn't care. Trump was busy. Trump was focused on something else. And what does Miller do? He takes the reins. We know this is the dynamic. Why? Because this happened. Remember the whole hoopla over that group chat that they accidentally invited a journalist to, and they were casually discussing top secret plans to bomb Yemen, and then that ended up leaking out? Well, there was an exchange in those text messages where Miller says, you have the green light from the big guy, or something to that effect, right? And then they do it. Well, come to find out from subsequent reporting, they actually didn't. Miller made the decision to do that bombing in Yemen, and it didn't actually go to Trump. He said it came from Trump. It didn't come from Trump. And so Stephen Miller has decided, look, this guy, what does Trump actually want to do? He wants to build the Epstein Memorial Ballroom, the Arc de Trump. He wants to remodel another fucking bathroom like he did with the Lincoln bathroom, right? He's got certain things that he likes to focus on. Okay, it probably takes 45 minutes in the morning to put his fucking bronzer on his face and to get his fucking dead meerkat hair in place. And so the guy, Trump's about the show, Trump's about the optics, Trump's the show pony. You put him out there in front of the crowd and let him make him laugh or whatever. Stephen Miller looks at it like, I run this bitch. I'm the actual one that dots the I's and crosses the T's and makes the real decisions and is most hands-on involved with all the different policy stuff. I'm the fucking shadow president, bitch. So the shadow president got out over his skis. And he realized, hey, we always go on the offense all the time about everything ever. We did with Renee Good. And we largely got away with that, right? So now we're going to do it here too. And so he tells Kristi Noem and he tells J.D. Vance, he tells all of them, here's what we're doing. And that he's saying that with the same assumption locked in that this is actually not even coming from me, it's coming from the president. And so Kristi Noem goes out there and does it. But then come to find out, the optics of this one are so bad, it looks so bad on TV, your lies are so egregious, that Trump actually doesn't even like it. And so, interesting thing is, Stephen Miller was not in the meeting, though, after the fact, right? Which is the first sign of any sort of issue between Trump and Miller. Now, look, we're a long way from him being axed, but the fact of the matter is actually very simple when it comes to Miller. I have no doubt the worst decisions coming out of this White House, the most fascist and Nazi-adjacent decisions coming out of this White House are 100% from Stephen Miller. Like, he is the one who insisted that, no, we're going all Insky on the mass deportations. He's the guy who berates ICE and CBP officials daily and says, you need to get your arrest numbers up. He's the guy who dissolved the agencies to go after actual cartel members and actual child traffickers. And he said, no, I want you to go raid the Lowe's parking lot and the Home Depot parking lot. I want you to go raid the meatpacking facilities and the schools. That's what I want you to do. So this is the guy, and there's been extensive reporting on this, that this is the guy who's really one of the shadow presidents, specifically when it comes to immigration, specifically when it comes to foreign policy, along with Marco Rubio on foreign policy. And so now this is the first time Trump's like, wait, you're fucking me here. So it'll be interesting to see, will Trump put two and two together? Like, hey, bitch, your approval rating's at 35%. You do know the whole country is fucking despising this right now, right? You do know you're focusing on all the wrong things. You do know that, like, this is on the brink of collapse here. Trump's going to want fall guys. He's going to want fall guys. Will he actually put it together and say it's Miller? The issue we have with Miller is, like I said, he actually genuinely does so much of the work that I think Trump would be afraid to lose him. Because I don't think Trump knows how to do most of the shit anyway. And Miller, of all the people, is the one actually doing a lot of the work. But this is what happens when you leave the most sadistic motherfucker of all of them. He's the one that's in charge. Well, here you go. You smear an innocent man as a fucking domestic terrorist and an assassin, and, like, you end up looking like total fucking douchebags. And by the way, their tweets still up. Their tweets are still up, calling him an assassin and fucking every negative name under the sun. He's a motherfucking ICU nurse who was an angel, who was assaulted previously by CBP officials as well, and was just murdered on video for all of us to see. But it is just, there are cracks in this foundation, bro. And it's only a matter of time. So we already have, Noam is already turning on Miller. Miller's already turning on Noam. Man, there's going to be all sorts of, I'm sure they're already desperate to try to get, like, those crumbs of support from Trump and climb that ladder of power. But, like, now it's people are stepping on each other's toes. They're having catfights now behind the scenes. They're pointing fingers. It's the blame game. And this always happens, bro. This always happens. As the poll numbers go down, these fights become more apparent. And so I think we're not done yet, right? We're not done yet. Bovine Boy was not the only one that's getting the axe. There's going to be more that get the axe. But the difference this time between this and the first regime is everybody who's around Trump now is a motherfucking kiss ass. And so he'll keep you around. You could be giving him the worst advice ever. You could be fucking everything up. But if you, at the end of the day, suck him off, he'll keep you around, which is why Noam went in there with, I love you so much. I love you so much. Please, I know I fucked up, but it wasn't me. It was Steven. But we'll see. I think more people will be getting the axe. I do think more people will be getting the axe. And I do think this civil war from within the regime is going to now spill over. We've already had the fighting among the MAGA pundits. We've seen that going on for quite a while now. Now it's going to be within the regime, because everybody's going to be pointing at everybody else for the blame game here. And this little optic switch, this little PR stunt to try to clean this up, that ain't enough, bro. It ain't enough. The country is fucking furious. The country is a tinderbox. The country is a mess. It's because you made it that way, because you got the fucking skinny little twerp boy, dweeb asshole fucking fascist. He's the one that's actually running the country, and that's why we are where we are. Finally, I just want to show you this. This is incredible. More Perfect Union says, AFGE, which is the largest federal employee union, is calling for the immediate termination of Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller for smearing their slain union member Alex Preddy as a domestic terrorist. So the reason why this is different than all other times in the past media outlets that are normally with the Trump regime, they have now turned on this narrative in particular, and somebody's got to take the fall. And Bovine Boy's getting some of the blame, but I do think Noam is getting a lot, and so is Miller, because they were the ones that were out over their skis being the most aggressive in smearing Preddy. So this thing is not over yet.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.